You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat basement, average 6-inch sub.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Welcome to the Hardcore Patriot.
What difference at this point does it make? Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in.
Welcome to the Hardcore Patriot. I'm your humble host, Alan Ray. In the cornfields of southeastern Michigan, I hate this day. It's September 11th, 2020. And I hate this day as much as I did September 11th, 2001. Don't go anywhere. We got one heck of a show. I'm feeling just a little bit ranty today because, like I said, I hate this day. Don't go anywhere because I'm going to throw some truths at you that you may or may not even want to hear. But you're going to hear them anyways as long as you stay tuned. Do you remember where you were September 11th, 2001? I do. I remember it, and I don't want to go off on a tearing rant about where I was, because quite honestly, it was something that turned out to be completely dead end. That I thank God every day. For the past 3.5 years, I wake up thanking God every day that I'm out of that nightmare. I don't know what drove me to stay that long, but I had to sit there at work. Of course, we couldn't leave. Of course, we had to work. Because, being there, doing what we were doing, took precedence over everything, including our own personal lives. We pooled our money together and sent somebody down to buy a television while somebody was on break. And we watched what was going on TV. And I remember the knot in the pit of my stomach. Something in the back of my mind, something that just my entire psyche told me that we were witnessing the change of the United States of America. That we were witnessing an event that would absolutely flip the way we lived completely around. God, I wish I wasn't so right. I was exactly dead on it. I couldn't have been more right if I tried. One of the very few times in my life that I was absolutely dead on. When we heard that the second tower had fallen, we'd heard that a plane had hit the Pentagon, I knew something was going on. And you look back at those days, you look back at that exact day. And since then, the weeks, the months after, for a few days, we were united as a nation. It didn't matter what your politics was, left or right. We all came together. We all held hands. For just a brief moment, we were unified. And immediately after that, it didn't take very long, a few days. Here comes all the finger pointing. Here comes all of the conspiracies. Here comes all the who knew what. You know what I think it was? I think a lot of the conspiracy theories, I think a lot of the people who say, well, this was all planned, this was all done, I think their egos couldn't handle that the United States of America, as big and bad and complex and ferocious as it was, were attacked by simple men using box cutters. It's hard to take. It's a smack in the face. And I'm still angry. Here we are 19 years after the fact. I wake up on September 11th. And the second I'm conscious, the second I realize what day it is, I get angry. I get mad. And I used to worry about that. Is it some kind of deep-seated psychological problem from watching all of this? Because just like everybody else my age, I was glued to the TV set. Glued to the radio. Pumping more information. I needed information. There was all this panic. Terrorist attacks. Anthrax. They were going to have anthrax. And then you got these psychotic morons that fueled the fire with, by sending anthrax or, something that looked like it. Just because they thought, oh, hey, that's a good idea. I could get away with it. They'll think it's a terrorist. Morons. That's what they were. And I look back at those days, and I think the reason we were so shocked, we were so awed, is because we couldn't wrap our minds around the fact that America, as big and bad as we were, we got big nuclear bombs. We have all these armies. We have tanks. We have jets. We have bombs. We have everything. And we were attacked by men with box cutters. You talk about something that'll take your arrogance level down to zero real quick. That'll do it. Yeah, I remember where I was. And it's hard not to get mad. Although, if you step back and you think logically, what am I mad at? The people who were responsible for it are dead. We tracked every one of them down. We can't do any more to correct 9/11 that particular day. I mean, we bombed places that have been bombed 10 times over. After a while, you're just bombing somebody else's bombed out rubble. We're fighting an idealism. It's craziness. Craziness. And I'm not going to go over the details of 9/11. You know the details. You know them all. I was reading it all, and it just made me even more irate, even more mad. Seeing the pictures, seeing the flight paths of the planes, how they took off, where they landed. Remembering back the morning after 9/11, driving to work was so weird. Because the closer I got to Ann Arbor, I looked up in the sky, and there was a crisscross pattern of jet trails across the sky over that part of Michigan. My friend and I watched 2 F-16s just about take out a Piper Cub over Ann Arbor. They don't like to talk about stuff like that. From the rumors that I heard from somebody who worked at the airport just down from where our business was, that it was an airplane full of FBI agents coming back from Canada, investigating some of the terrorists that went from Canada over to Maine, and they didn't get proper permission to get back into American airspace, and it almost cost them their lives. Weird things. I remember sitting at that airport, because there was a park right next to that airport. I used to go there during lunch and just kick back. I had a Jeep that had a nice moonroof. It was a Jeep Cherokee. And I remember a few days after 9/11 just vegging out. And it seemed like even the birds would not fly. Everything was so calm. Beautiful weather. Not like what we got out there today. It's just so gloomy and cloudy and nasty. No, it was beautiful, sunny. And I remember looking way, way up at the sky, seeing something catch my eye, a glint off the sun. And I always, had in that Jeep, it was kind of an end of the world Jeep. Always had binoculars in there. I grabbed my binoculars and looked way up there. There were B-52s, a squadron of them. And I remember thinking to myself, well, they found who's responsible. Here we go. It was such a bizarre time. And I'm not alone in my feelings. Anybody that was an adult in that day and age, we sat glued to our TVs. And sure enough, everything changed. Everything has changed since 9/11. The way you fly. I remember the real time that it hit me was, we had been playing the country band I was in. We were winding down, and we were in about the last 3 years in our existence. And we were on kind of a casino tour, and we were going to Detroit Motor City Casino. This was just a couple of weeks after 9/11. And they all knew us there. We'd played there many times. The security guards knew us and everything. We pulled in there. The security guard said, okay, guys, hi. And he was nice, just like he always was. He says, things have changed. You have to check in right here. And we are going to go over you with a, metal wand. We're going to check all of your stuff. Everything was a potential bomb threat. Everybody was a potential terrorist. One of the things I remember most about this, I have a friend. He is from the Middle East. He's Syrian. And I remember almost closing time on 9/11, he called. In tears. He wasn't even ordering anything. He was a great customer of mine. He just called in tears. And he said, I want you guys to know, don't judge all of us by what you're seeing. These people are extremists. We hate them. And I remember telling him, no, look, that's not the way it's going to be. It's not the way it's going to be. He was in tears. He hated it. He hated what was going on. He saw himself as an American. He fought to get to this country. And I mean fought to get to this country. And he ran a business. He did. I mean, he was at that place early in the morning and staying late at night, making a living for himself, enjoying the freedom that capitalism offers. And I know you're trying to turn capitalism into a dirty word nowadays. But I call crap on that too. And he was in tears. Absolutely in tears. The same guy, a couple of months later, went home for a couple of weeks. By home, I mean to his parents in Syria. He's a younger guy. And when he came back, I asked him how his trip went. And he laughed. He said, I've never been naked in front of so many strange people in my life. He goes, you know, the only place that didn't see me as a terrorist was the United States of America. That's the only place that didn't strip search him. Every place he landed in, he was strip searched. Said the United States of America was the only place that accepted him back. They just told him, welcome back to the States. Because he was a citizen. He fought for it. Yeah, I remember, and that's what's so strange. I can't hardly even remember what I ate for dinner yesterday. There's so many things about my childhood, so many things about my adolescence, so many things about my adulthood that I barely remember. It's like, oh, I did that? Okay. I can almost tell you every detail of 9/11 and the days afterwards. When things finally did start opening up, when we stopped our mass panic, we were all at a football game. I remember sitting at that football game. It was a high school football game. And we're in the stands, and they're playing the national anthem. And okay, those of you, the cornfields of southeastern Michigan, where Gadsden Studios is, where I broadcast this from, we're right in the flight path of Detroit Metro Airport. The planes go right over us. I mean, if you're coming from almost anywhere in the United States here, you're going to circle out and you're going to go right over us. You're up there a little bit, so we really don't notice it unless you sit there and actually look. But as they were playing the national anthem, a 747 flew over, low altitude. It was just one of those days where they were coming in low. And it seemed like it just crept across the field. And when they got done with the national anthem, you could hear a pin drop as this thing flew by. It was almost like it was planned. And then everybody clapped kind of half-heartedly because there was such an odd feeling. Such a weird knot in the pit of your stomach. And just talking about that, just discussing that, takes me right back to that feeling. It's really weird. But, you know, here's the difference. Here's the difference. We're going through some times right now. And, you know, I hate to use that word. During these difficult times. Whatever. Most of this is 90% political now and 10% actual virus related. Everything you're seeing now. It's stupid. And God help these politically motivated idiots if this thing all of a sudden magically disappears November 3rd. Because I'll be leading the charge to have these people strung up. But I digress. The difference between what we're seeing now in this pandemic and what happened back then is back then it only took a few hours to realize who was responsible. Back then, we could attack the people responsible, and we did. As soon as the bombs started dropping, the panic started easing. Yeah, there was still rumors. But as soon as we said, look, here was the plot, we figured it out. And you could sit there and say, well, we knew. No, we didn't know. We had a lot of pieces of the puzzle. We had tons of pieces of the puzzle. We just didn't know how they fit together. The hindsight bias from 9/11 is just off the charts. I mean, you ever want to really sink down a rabbit hole? Look at all the conspiracy theories behind 9/11. It's crazy. It's insane. But it all boils down to this. We had a bunch of pieces. We didn't know what they mean. Our system was set up so that the right hand and the left hand had no clue what the other was doing, and they wouldn't cooperate with each other. Otherwise, we might have caught some of these people. We learned really quick that low technology can sometimes trump high technology. A box cutter taking down jets. That's pretty much what it boiled down to. A box cutter, a plan, and some men willing to die for their extremism. That was 9/11. So let's look around you today. Let's look around 9/11/2020. What do we have today? You're not going to like what I have to say. Some of you won't. We have extremists attacking the United States. You see Portland, you see Seattle, you see Chicago, you see Kenosha, all these places. There's not a heck of a lot of difference between 9/11/2001 and that. The only difference is the body count's not as high. You have extremists burning down businesses in the name of Black Lives Matter, going into neighborhoods where there's black-owned businesses and burning them to the ground. You have extremists. And let's start calling them what they are. Let's start calling them what they are. These are extremists. Fundamental extremists. They're as extreme as the Islamic terrorists, extremist Islamic terrorists that attacked this country on September 11, 2001. They are as extreme. They want to destroy this nation and out of the ashes build a communist socialist regime. That's exactly what they want. They're not interested in your freedom. They're not interested in your liberties. They talk about equality. They don't give a flip about equality. They don't care. Their idea of equality is just a skewed, bizarre, well, it's extremist ideologues. Their idea is to kill the United States and force their immoral, lawless, skewed lifestyle on all of us. And they're going to try to do it in the name of equality. If you fall for it, you're a bigger idiot than anybody can ever imagine. Their idea of equality is this: destroy Christians, Jews, anyone who is pro-family, anyone who is pro-life, anyone that thinks civility is a good idea. Listen to them. They tell you this all the time. This isn't me saying what I think. They tell you this all the time. They don't want laws. They don't want to be judged for their immorality. They don't want to be looked at for their perversions. They want you to go away so their conscience, they think, can be soothed. And the worst part about it is they have infiltrated our education system. They have infiltrated our media. They've infiltrated our government. And here we sit. We don't do a darn thing about it. Nothing. I get disgusted by it. I'm sorry. You know, the older I get, I made this comment in the KLRNRadio chat room this morning. There's a reason I grow more and more recluse every year. This is it. I look around at humanity. I can see what's going on. I can see what's going on. It's very clear. What it all boils down to, what this extremism that is attacking the United States of America, what it all boils down to here is they think that their lawlessness, their immorality, their incivility, their perverted, skewed lifestyle is just going to magically be accepted after we transform into a socialist communist regime. You get the idea that some of these kids think that they're just going to sit around in their mom's basement, play video games Monday through Friday, collect their end of the week socialist mandatory minimum wage check, and party all weekend with their buds, and Monday crawl back down into their basement and play Call of Duty or whatever for the rest of the week on the taxpayer's dime. They have no idea that if they get their wish, if their dream comes true, and socialism, communism ravages this nation, the last thing they're going to be able to do is sit around in mommy's basement and play video games. Oh yeah, they might get away with it for a little while. But after the money runs out, after people with work ethics decide, you know what, screw this. Why should I work my butt off just to have my entire paycheck taken out? When they're all gone, there's going to be a door-to-door government intervention saying, comrade, I know you're playing video games, but Mother America needs you. Here's a shovel. Here's a pile of dirt. Go fill in the roads. They're all banged up because we can't get revenue anymore. Because all the people who used to have work ethics are gone. Oh, what do you mean you don't want to help build the roads for Mother America? Well, maybe we should send you to the gulag. See, these idiots, these little pin-headed, needle-armed idiots out there burning things down, they call themselves Antifa. You guys are fascists. No, I'm not a fascist. I'm not a fascist. I get called fascist. I get called Nazi. It makes me laugh. I laugh. I start cracking up. I used to just say whatever. Now I just get in their face. I said, I'm fascist. I'm a Nazi. Do you know what a Nazi is? You wouldn't know a Nazi if one was screwing your mom, okay? You wouldn't know one. You're that stupid. You've probably never had a real history lesson in your entire life. You don't even know what a fascist is. Let's go over the facts. I'm a fascist. I'm a Nazi. I think the federal government should be about 1/8 of the size that it is right now. Does that make me a fascist? Does that make me a Nazi? I think the federal government should be out of my personal life, 100%. The federal government should have two chores. One, deal with foreign entities. And by that I mean treaties, trade agreements, having a standing army so that we can, defend ourselves. Deal with foreign entities. And number 2, regulate commerce between the 50 states. Everything else is scope creep. Everything else is above and beyond what they should be doing. You want a federal EPA? Okay. Here's my idea of a federal EPA. Get 10 people, and say, okay, you are the federal EPA. We're going to pay y'all, $70,000 a year. And what you're going to do is, it's your job to coordinate all of the state's environmental agencies, which, I don't know, can you name a state that doesn't have an environmental agency? And if they don't, well, then they're going to have to get one. And what you're going to do is take the leaders of that, and a couple times a year, you're all going to meet in Washington, D.C., figure out a direction you want to head, and then send them back to their own home states. Oh, looky there. I just saved the United States of America about $10 billion a year. How about that? Same with Bureau of Land Management. 10 people. Federal government shouldn't own land anyways. 10 people. They go around and they say, take all of the state's land management and say, okay, what direction are we going to head in? Because every single state has different land. Figure out best practices, share with each other, and then send them back. Instead of millions and millions and millions and billions, it'd cost you a couple $100,000 a year. Big deal. You do that with all the bureaucracies, next thing you know, the federal government is tiny. Yeah, it can still be pretty powerful, but it's tiny. And it's more of a coordinator than it is a dominator. Well, in 2020, that's a radical ideology, isn't it? It's called freedom, kids. It's called freedom. You want some nanny state to give you everything you need to make a living? Move to California. Get out of Michigan. I don't want you here. I don't want to support you. I don't want your paycheck coming out of my paycheck. Are you disabled? You got a problem? Okay. Yeah, let's support you. But what these extremists want, and let's start calling them what they are from now on, and on this show especially, when you're one of these rioters, you're an extremist. Every time some thug, somebody with a rap sheet 10 miles long gets shot, you take to the streets because some app on your phone says, oh my gosh, this is inequality and we're going to protest. Who's behind that app? I can tell you who's behind that app. Extremists who want this country changed from freedom to socialism, to authoritarianism, to somebody who tells you what you need to do from cradle to grave. You're an extremist if you follow it. We're already at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to take a break. You know, I'm not in a good mood. If you're expecting me to be a little ball of sunshine today, not going to happen. Sorry. Don't go anywhere because it's just going to get, I'm just getting ramped up. Just getting ramped up. It's just going to get crazier from here. I'll try to get off the whole 9/11 kick when we come back because some things are happening. Weird, bizarre things like usual. We'll talk about them. Don't go anywhere.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Welcome back. This is Alan Ray. This is the Hardcore Patriot. Usually just a lovable little fluff ball. Sorry, not today, folks. Not today. So Bob Woodward came out with a book. Why did Donald Trump go to talk to Bob Woodward? Why? Those of you too young to remember, Bob Woodward and his partner, Carl Bernstein, they're the ones that broke Watergate. I don't know why Trump had to run over there and give him... Yeah, he should have known. He should have known that every single word he said to this moron was going to be used against him. Woodward and Bernstein basically glorified. They made investigative journalism the cesspool it is today. You know, I don't excuse Richard Nixon for what he did. When you really study Nixon, the man was a real work. Let me tell you what. I mean, not even his own staff liked him most of the time. But these guys made, quote, investigative journalism, unquote, popular. They are the forefathers of what you see today. Every single question is an aha, gotcha. Aha, gotcha. I was listening to Rush Limbaugh, which I do sometime. I've got a 40-minute drive to work. I either listen to a book on tape or music, or sometimes I flip over to Limbaugh, see what's happening. And he was talking about Woodward and Bernstein, and how since 2016, he played a montage of sound bites from Woodward and Burns. Well, actually just Woodward. And, oh no, actually it was from Bernstein. And every single move this president has made, Bernstein came out and said, it's just like Watergate. It's just like Watergate. It's just like Watergate. And the whole thing that's going on right now, oh, he knew how bad this virus was. Oh, it's as scandalous as Watergate. We knew how bad it was. He didn't try to shade it. Yeah, he wasn't. Apparently, this is comparative to George W. Bush on September 11th, reading to a group of young children, getting told by Secret Service, whispering in his ear, that a plane just flew into one of the World Trade Centers. Then a few minutes later, telling him a plane just flew into the other one. We're under attack, Mr. President. And according to the left-wing lapdog media, George W. Bush should have stood up and screamed, "Oh my God, we're all going to die!" And permanently scarred these little kids that he was reading to for the rest of their lives. That's what he was supposed to do. That's a reaction that the media wanted out of George W. Bush. If you listen to all of the media back then, that's what should have happened. That whole idea is moronic. In fact, I think he's more brave. And trust me, I am not a cheerleader for George W. Bush. I'm not a cheerleader for just about any politician. Like I say all the time, I scrutinize politicians. I don't worship them. But one thing you can say about George W. Bush is he loved this country. He loves this country. You can tell. He did what he thought was best. Whether you agree with it politically or not, he did what he thought was best. But one thing he did that I think showed more bravery is he finished up reading. He very calmly, very gently thanked the kids. He knew there was nothing at that exact second he could do. He folded the book, and then he spent the next several hours hopping from secret location to secret location until he could get back to Washington, D.C. safely and address the nation, and address it he did. And every single word from that point forward was used against him by the moronic, lapdog, left-wing media that we know as mainstream media. They do the same thing to Donald Trump. But, back to my story. I'm listening to Rush Limbaugh talk about Woodward and Bernstein. And I start thinking, okay, this is the absolute beginning of my remembrance of politics, is Watergate. Watergate is when I really realized as a child that there was a president of the United States of America. I was young. I wasn't even 10 years old. And I remember the trials. I remember watching, interviews from the president. And what he did back then, by comparison to what we see some of the presidents doing today, giving Mexican drug lords guns so they can shoot Americans, things like that. Yeah, it almost pales in comparison to what we see today. Back then it was scandalous. Back then it was horrible. It sank him. Even people in his own party is like, nah, you're done. Get out of here. So he resigned. And along comes Gerald Ford. First thing Gerald Ford does is, you know what? We have to move on. I'm going to pardon him. Oh my gosh. That was the death knell for Gerald Ford's presidency. They're saying that is the biggest reason why he did not get reelected, is because he pardoned Richard Nixon. I started wondering, back then, there was very little to almost no conservative talk radio. Everything you heard, and now we know for a fact, because they don't even try to hide it, the mainstream media basically controlled 100% of the narrative, whether it be from television, radio, whatever. Everything you heard. What would have happened? What would have happened if during the Gerald Ford presidency we had Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, list goes on and on and on. What if we had 1,000 podcasts like the Hardcore Patriot or any one you choose? A bunch of them you find on KLRNRadio. Everywhere else. 1,000 of them. Getting the voice out there. Asking the hard questions. Comparing and contrasting presidencies. during Jimmy Carter's rule, asking the hard questions. What would have happened? How would that have changed history? Would Ford been reelected? What if you had thousands of voices out there saying, look, I know President Nixon didn't do things ethically. He knew about this thing. Gerald Ford, yeah, the press is painting him as a bumbling idiot. But you want a bumbling idiot? At least he didn't send a bunch of troops to die in the Bay of Pigs and not support him like he promised he was going to do. Not support the revolution. He didn't almost drag us into World War III and nuclear holocaust. Yeah, I'm talking about JFK. I know. He's assassinated. I shouldn't talk about him. He's a hero. But if you look at his presidency, he did a lot of things that were very incompetent. Darn near got us all nuked. If you had thousands and thousands of voices out there spreading that word around, if you had social media back then, if you had social media, would we had a Jimmy Carter? As a man, I kind of admire Jimmy Carter. I mean, the guy's ancient. And he's still building homes, Habitat for Humanity, doing things like that. I admire that. That's cool. As a president, he's a flop. He's a failure. He's the most wishy-washy thing. And I know they're trying to rewrite history and say, well, he was the reason that the Iranian crisis got solved in the end. No, he's the reason the Iranian crisis happened. I know for a fact, it was explained to me by somebody who was in Iran, an Iranian, during that time. It was explained to me that when they figured out that Ronald Reagan was going to be president, they couldn't get rid of those hostages fast enough. They figured they were going to get bombed into the Stone Age by Ronald Reagan. They knew what Jimmy Carter was, that he was wishy-washy. What would have happened? What would have happened if there would have been a media source back in those days, as powerful as it is now, telling the other side of the story, telling the truth? Knowing what we know now. And go back as far as the JFK days. You look at, Woodward and Bernstein and how they broke Watergate. You look at Watergate itself. I'm not excusing it. I think it's abhorrible. I think what happened there was abhorrible. But I also think we're never going to really know the truth of what those guys broke into the Democratic headquarters to figure out. Some people say they were trying to get dirt on a sex scandal. Other people think it's a little more nefarious than that. Should they have tried to cover it up? Nope. A lot of people went to prison. I don't know. It's something worth investigating. But if you go back even before then, what would have happened if we had such a conservative talk radio presence as powerful as we do now, back in the John F. Kennedy days? Questioning some of the things he was doing. Pointing out what he did in the Bay of Pigs. Yeah, there was a little more centrist media back then. Or was there? We don't know. That's the problem. History has all been painted by this media. Used to be when you got caught in a lie, when you were a reporter, when you were a journalist, you were shamed completely off the map. You were shamed completely out of your job. Lying back then was taboo. You didn't do it. And when you were caught, you were tossed out. Now, you can find lies in just about every story in the mainstream media. Nobody trusts them. Everybody looks at the mainstream media like they look at politicians. What's that say for your profession, journalists? And, I know a lot of them bemoan social media. Oh, social media is destroying us. No, all you have to do is tell the truth. Tell the truth. And when social media rises up, say, okay, prove me wrong. Go ahead, I dare you. We live in interesting times. That's the whole thing. And it makes me wonder what history would be like if we had a Rush Limbaugh, if we had a Tucker Carlson, whatever, whoever you want to fill in the blanks. If we had podcasts that look up stories and give you their take on them and say, now just wait a minute, how is this any different from this person doing this? Not excusing it, but saying, if one of them's wrong, both of them are wrong. What if there was always that presence? There's your thought for the day. There's your thought. Yeah, I'm kind of deep. I'm kind of cynical today, but whatever. I'm going to end with this. This is the bizarrest thing. Michigan has turned into a battleground state. It's been quite the week here. And I'm sure I'll dive deeper into this when Circumspice comes out Sunday. If you don't know, if you listen to this, and I know my numbers on this show are growing, I do a show basically Michigan-based on Sunday nights. I do it live. We have a live chat. We have fun. I do the Michigan Fishing Report. It's a good time. But I'll dive deeper into what happened this week in Michigan. I mean, we had Biden here. Biden was here at the first of the week. Trump was here yesterday. The comparison is off the charts. You looked at Biden coming here. You might as well had, your broke uncle from Georgia roll in. He probably had that many people. It was lackluster. Lackluster. And he screwed up. The man can't make a public appearance without making a gaffe. I mean, you can tell. You can tell. Just watch his interviews. His brain is baked. He has issues. And I'm not making fun of him. I'm not making fun of him. I'm questioning the Democrat Party. Why are you running somebody like this? It's really obvious there's issues here. And when people like me and millions of others started pointing this out, they immediately went on the defensive. Well, look at Donald Trump. Look at Donald Trump. Look at Donald Trump. What about him? He says what's on his mind. Sometimes it makes my eyes roll. Sometimes it makes me cringe when he does what he does. But he's been consistent throughout this whole thing. You punch him, he punches back. You don't like that. The media hates that. He's gotten to the point now where he just looks at the media and calls them exactly what they are. They're a bunch of dogs. A bunch of vultures. But you got a man who can't even... They're giving him softball questions, and they're giving him a teleprompter with the answers on the questions. I'm sure somebody's sitting there bringing up, scrolling the answers so he can read them, and he can't even read them right. He screws that up too. You want this guy as president? Really? Good luck. Good luck. God help us if he gets the presidency. That's all I got to say. I still can't understand where the mindset of the left is with this. Yeah, you had a couple of people in the Democrat primaries who probably could have beat Donald Trump. They would have appealed the centrists. And what do you have this guy? Biden. You're afraid to even have him debate the president. You're making up all these excuses why he shouldn't debate Donald Trump, because you know he's going to get tore up. And you look at his train of thought from the beginning of the primaries till now. He's lost it. He's got a problem. There's issues here. He said 6,700 soldiers died of COVID-19. There were 7. What he was confusing was people who had died in Michigan. COVID-related deaths. He can't carry a train of thought. He goes back and forth and back and forth. And most of the time, he says things, and you look at him and go, what did he just say? And the media fawns over him. It's like we're living in some bizarre LSD trip. That's all I can say. Trump rolls in yesterday. And compare this to Biden. Biden, there was like 6 people sitting in a UAW place somewhere. There was Ford trucks around. I think it was in Warren, where they make Fords. And everybody was social distanced. And everybody was playing by the rules. There wasn't anybody there. And the people were there. You could tell they didn't care. They didn't really care. Trump rolls in. There's, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. He's up by Saginaw, which really, when somebody rolls into Michigan, who goes to Saginaw? It's kind of cool he did. But there was people all over the place. And, of course, the media, they were social distancing. Well, just pretend they were chucking bricks at the police and starting fires in small businesses, and you'll be okay. It'll settle you down a little bit. Just act like it's a riot, okay? Whatever. Now, I get so tired of that crap anyway. And you can tell people are genuinely exciting. They're excited to vote for Trump. Nobody's excited to vote for Biden. I want a Biden supporter, an excited Biden supporter to go on TV and explain to America why they love Joe Biden and why they're going to vote for him. He's everything the left hates. I've said this before on this show. He's everything the left despises. He's been leeching off the American taxpayers since 1973. The only person that's got a better track record of leeching off the taxpayers is Bernie Sanders. Maybe they like that kind of thing. I don't know. He's old. He's white. Obviously a misogynist. My God, he sniffs little kids' hair. Yeah, there's so many examples of him being a little pervert. They've completely pushed down the accusations against him. Which, you know what? If the accusations haven't come out before, why are they coming out now? Both sides. I just don't dig that. I don't get into that at all. If there's an actual, real sexual allegation against him, file it in court. File it in court and bring it up. Should have been done when it happened, not now. You can see right through most of that stuff anyways. It doesn't even matter. And in this day and age, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sexual allegations don't matter. The Me Too movement, it doesn't mean anything anymore. You have Netflix out there pushing a movie about pedophilia. You got little girls dressed like whores, writhing around on stage. And if you make a comment about it, well, you're an extremist right wing. That was their answer to the pedophile. What was that called? Cuties? That's what it's called? It's a pedophile movie. It's a pedophile. If they caught that on somebody's laptop, somebody's computer, they'd go to prison for it. But Netflix is openly showing it. And if you, God help you, if you make a comment about it, well, you're one of those. This is art. No, it's pedophilia. And you're trying to excuse it. That's why they're okay with Biden. Because you can tell he's a pedophile. He's made all kinds of comments that could come back to haunt him. He's supported all kinds of things against the black race that could come back to haunt him. None of this stuff seems to be surfacing in the media. He's everything that the left hates. And the Democrat Party has shoved them in their face and say, you must vote for him. Folks, it's the end of the show. I appreciate you. I love you for tuning in. Thank you for enjoying my rant for the past hour. I'm Alan Ray, the Hardcore Patriot. God bless you. God bless America. Never forget what caused September 11th, 2001. We'll talk again soon.